Welcome everyone to the Firing the Man podcast. On today's episode, Ken and I cover a new online platform that we've been using to get reimbursements from Amazon. Now, Ken, every week you and I sit down and we talk about our businesses for 1 hour. And this week was special because you came to me with a new product that you've been using, and you said that you had generated, in just a couple days, you had generated $1,500 in reimbursements from Amazon. And it only took you 5 minutes to set up. And so in today's episode, we're going to dive into what this tool is, how we've used it, and what our experiences have been thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to Kevin Sanderson on Maximizing E-commerce, because I saw this tool he was advertising. So, but yeah, you're right. So the tool is Getida, Getida. And they've been in business about 5 years. And what they are is they're a service, and they do a deep dive into your Amazon account from Amazon. Like, who doesn't want that, right? So before we get into more about Getida, my current process, and probably a lot of the listeners that are active Amazon sellers, I use Helium 10's Refund Genie. Right. And every month my VA goes in, grabs a report, submits them. And, I think it covers like lost inventory, damaged inventory, stuff like that, customer returns. I thought all my bases were covered. Right. I thought, that portion is done. Right. Wrong. So like I said, Getida, they look at over 30 different, ways to get money back from Amazon. And, I love getting money back from Amazon. So I loaded up the tool. Like you said, Dave, it took me less than 5 minutes, probably more like 2. And it went to work immediately. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, right? And I came back a few hours later and I saw like a couple $100 in the dashboard. And I'm like, wow, next day, more. So I've been running it 4 or 5 days now. And it's up over $1,500, and it's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you pointed out that you're currently already using a tool like this. When you first told me about this, I thought to myself, I already use Refund Genie. I don't need this. I'm getting, usually it turns out to be about $300 per month back in reimbursements, and I love that. In fact, that pays for my Helium 10 subscription. And so I've been running this less than 24 hours, and it has already found $300 in reimbursements. And one thing I want to point out here is you've already done all the legwork, right? You've made the sale. The item has been fulfilled to the customer. Maybe the customer's written a review. Maybe they've returned it. But all of the legwork has been done. And what a tool like this does is it goes back and scrubs all of the data and all of the reporting within Amazon to identify areas where you can get a refund. And so I love this. From an accounting standpoint, these reimbursements all fall to the bottom line, right? There's no, you don't need inventory for this. This is just, in my case, $300 that's falling down to net income. And I love things like that.
Yeah, me too. So I was just giggling because I had a thought when you said that. To me, this is a vanity metric, right? Like when you can add profits to your business really easily, So for example, 5 minutes and over $1,500, and it drops, like you said, David, to the bottom line. That's cash in my pocket, profit, and it's a beautiful thing. So a little bit more into how Getida works is, when you log in, you create an account, it's completely free, and you have to, give them developer access to your Amazon account just like any other tool. It syncs and it goes to work. Start scrubbing, pulling reports. And on the back side of this, now I briefly spoke with the COO, Yanni, and on the back side, there's actually case managers that go through and file these cases on your behalf, and they follow up. Because I thought how is this working? Is it tons of automation? And no, there's actual account manager assigned to your account, and they're filing cases, and then they're following up. And so in my mind, it's like they've been doing this for almost 5 years now. So they have a really, really mature process. So if Amazon denies your claim, they probably already have 3 or 4 different ways to redo it and resubmit it. And the success rate, so on one of my accounts, I had over 51 cases submitted. Success rate was 87%. So another thing that's really good with the tool is it has a dashboard right there in front of you, and it says, hey, here's the amount that you've been reimbursed in cash and inventory, cases submitted, and success rate of the cases. So it's pretty cool. Another thing is it doesn't take any money out of your pocket. It's completely free to use. Now, Getida on the backside, they take 25% of whatever they find. So that's their fee, but only if they find it. So that you get reimbursed, and then Getida charges you on a monthly basis only after you've been paid by Amazon. So it's a beautiful thing.
Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt the episode. You may have heard Ken and I talking about a new reimbursement tool that is free to use, takes 5 minutes to set up, and has generated over $2,000 in Amazon reimbursements over the last few months. This company is called Getida, Getida. We have partnered with Getida to offer our listeners $200 of free reimbursement credit when they use offer code FIRINGTHEMAN. Go to firingtheman.com/Getida, Getida, and get your money back from Amazon.
So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. The pricing is something that stands out to me in that, what do you have to lose? You know what I mean? 25%, that may turn off some people, but unless you're planning on spending hundreds of hours poring over, big data within your Amazon reporting portal, you're probably not going to get these reimbursements anyway. And so that pricing, and you compare that to like a Helium 10, where you have to pay. I pay $97 a month for Helium 10, whether I get any refunds or not. And so I really like the pricing here. The second thing is that they are filing for you. I'll contrast this with Refund Genie. That's the only program I have experience in that's similar to this. You download a report in a text file, and then you have to copy and paste that into your case log. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of time, and it's pretty organized in how they do it. However, that takes time from a VA, or it takes time from me, and it's just nice to know that there's a dedicated team filing cases on your behalf. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's a kind of a next level service. And before you cover some of the high level audits that they perform, we're not going to go too in deep, but we can cover some of them. There's another feature that I've not seen before in any tool, and it's called the FBA Pick and Pack Save feature, I believe. And if you've been selling on Amazon for any length of time, and you have a monitoring tool, you probably see that Amazon changes your dimensions and your weights on your ASINs, constantly changing them. And if it triggers a higher fee, they're not going to tell you that, right? And no tool that I've used, I have found this before, and my VA has found this, where they've triggered the ASIN went from small to oversized, and it triggered like an extra $3 fee on every unit. And we sold 3,000 or 4,000 units before we figured this out. And so we go back to Amazon and, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, nah, you can't, prove it or whatever. Your size changed, blah, blah. Well, this feature, you load in your product dimensions. If you're a private label seller, they're not going to change, right? It's not like we're arbitrage or something. It's going to be the same weight, same size, most of the time. So you load in all of your SKUs. If you have a few SKUs, you can just load it in manually. If you have a lot, you upload an Excel sheet. It's really easy. You put your, length, width, all of that, your weight, upload it, and it'll check your report. It goes back 90 days. So that in any reimbursements, any FBA pick and pack fees that are wrong, it'll get a reimbursement for, or try to. And what's crucial, I know this show is probably going to air in November, December, Q4. So Q4 is the highest volume for most private label brands, and to have this feature in place, then you're going to save a lot of money.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited about that product size tier. as well, that adjustment, because an example is I have a product that if you squeeze it down, it's just below 0.7 inches, which is the cutoff. Right. But in its natural state, it's like 0.72. And so, the difference here, we're only talking about 2/100ths of an inch, but that is the difference between fulfillment fees of $241 versus $337. Yep. And that delta all falls to the bottom line. And this is a margin game. And if you can add profitability to your business by making these adjustments or having a tool like this do this for you, why not? Why not? It's just good business. And so I'm really excited about this. As I mentioned, I've only been running it for 24 hours and have been really pleased with the results. But this to me is a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. David, do you want to cover some of the higher level audits? And then I've got a couple here that are kind of funny.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are 6 main categories, and within those categories are subcategories. So the primary ones are returns, accounting, warehouse, inventory, shipping, and seller fulfilled. And on most of these audits, they're going to go back 18 months. There are certain audits that they call evergreen, where they can go back further than 18 months, but generally, a year and a half is as far back as they're going to go. And I'll tell you what, when I think of the volume that I've done in the last 18 months, I can only get excited about this because the number of things that are potentially missed are huge. And so really looking forward to this, and hopefully, just keeping this running on an ongoing basis and continuing to have these reimbursements loaded into, my bottom line. So specifically, what were some audits that stood out to you? What are some of these subcategories?
Sure. Yeah. The two that jumped out at me, if you've been selling on Amazon for any length of time, you've received a return and it had some kind of a wacky product in it, right? Like we have one in the podcast studio. It's some kind of a next level watch, right? Well, I got that as a return. And so customer sends back an item that was different than what you sold, right? So you can get a reimbursement for that. And I thought that was kind of cool because, David, you've received the same thing. Usually in Q4, you get more than normal, right? Amazon's just all kinds of wacky. The other one was unfair reimbursement. It's the reimbursement the seller received was not correlative to lost value. So those are two that jumped out at me. But yeah, the list is really long. We're not going to cover it all here on the show. Probably put you to sleep. But it's very exhaustive. I can tell you that much.
We have partnered with Getida to offer our listeners $200 of free reimbursement credit when they use offer code FiringTheMan. Go to firingtheman.com/Getida, Getida, and get your money back from Amazon.